Hello, welcome to the Lately in PHP podcast. This is episode 62, and after a very long struggle with all sorts of challenges, nothing unusual, except for a barking dog directly from Latvia, where we can see Artur Sozins. Hello, Artur. How are you doing?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, you hear that? And congratulations on probably a record. I think that's a record time we are late on the podcast. Like it's almost
Yeah,
2 hours late. Everything
yeah.
that could go wrong went wrong. But on the bright side, better late than never. And if you don't mind unworking cameras and jumping mouses, I think we could start and all should be good.
Yeah, yes. If you see for some reason we switch window, it's because my mouse, wireless mouse in the USB insists on jumping just because there is some problem. I have no idea what it is. Anyway, we are here to talk about PHP and we need to start right away because we have lots of topics. Despite this is August. Lots of people are at least in the North Hemisphere, are in the beach. They couldn't care less what we are talking about PHP, but maybe they can listen to it later. So we're going to start precisely by the usual topics on the latest versions of PHP, starting on PHP 5.443 that was actually released in July. We are already in August. There is a newer version, but we will leave it to next month. Anyway, PHP 4 end of life is reaching, and so these are the latest, probably the last versions that we see at PHP 5.4. Again, we have the jumpy mouse. And as I was saying, well, just some security bugs. Fortunately, not many. But for PHP 5.5, we had a few more bugs being fixed because it's not just security bugs. Well, just as 5.6, I don't see nothing really special worth mentioning. So the usual recommendation is to take a look, see if any of these bugs affect whatever are the PHP version that you are using. Also, regarding PHP 5.4, since these are the last versions that are released, and if you are concerned to have an always up-to-date version of PHP 5.4, you should consider preparing at least to upgrade to a newer version. And this is for PHP 5.4, 5th and 6th versions. So now let's just comment a little bit about, just to mention that the PHP 7 is coming. There is a newer beta version, PHP Beta 7, and it is available in usual places. There will be links in the show notes just in case you want to try them. There are versions for the regular Linux or Unix versions, and also for Windows. So you can just go there, download, and try them if your screen doesn't jump like mine.
I just wanted to mention something interesting that I found that if you can look at my screen, you would see Linux downloads, Windows downloads, Linux,
Yeah.
Windows. Well, Windows page is much more beautiful.
Oh, I think the Linux listings is just a listing of files. It's not a real page. So that's why it's not even decorated as you probably expected. Anyway, we are going to move on to the next topic, which is just mention briefly now that you have PHP 7 beta versions. There is already a changelog page, which is independent of the system you are using, so it works for Linux or Windows. So we won't complain.
And they look the same, yeah.
If they are beautiful or not, it's irrelevant. It's still beta. It's not for use in production. It's just for if you want to just try PHP 7 right away. So moving on to the next topic. Now we're going to just to mention a proposal that actually is proposing that you a few more words become reserved, because since the introduction of the strict types, certain words become reserved because they can be used to define the types in the type meeting, so they are part of the PHP syntax. And this time they are proposing to add two more words. One is void, and then another is enum. Void eventually is just to tell that, for instance, a function will not return any type of value. And enum is to implement an eventual feature of an enum data type, which is something that is. Yeah, it was already proposed, so it will not be for PHP 7.0, but maybe 7.1 or other future versions. I have seen many people asking for this, but well, it never happened. So it could be this time.
It's a soft reservation, so it is not enforced. It's not strict. And also PHP variables usually have $sign before them, so it's like they won't clash, just reserving new words, right? It should not break anything or much.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what being soft in this context could be just a gestation of a non-fatal warning. I think that's probably what is meant by soft. But I confess I did not take a look at the whole proposal, just read it briefly, so that's probably what it means. Anyway, moving on to the next topic, you have some interesting proposals for collaboration. Let me share here. Here there is a message posted by Matt Tate. He's a security researcher from Google, and he's expressing a great interest to help PHP to be more secure by default, which has been always a complaint for many years. The detractors of PHP seem to not want to support PHP with the excuse that it's not secure, and in reality it's often a problem of the developers. If the developer is not very security aware, probably not write very secure code. So he has sent this proposal, and the idea actually he sent a proposal to participate, and then he already started submitting proposals. The first proposal is here, again, his name, Matt Tate at Google, and he proposed something that will help detecting eventual SQL injections. What is potential for SQL injections? And from what I understood, and I'm not sure about this, he just would define that a new type of string, well, it's not really a new type, but a way to track if a string has been constructed statically, I mean in the source code, or it is probably a concatenation of values, like for instance values taken from some other places like request values that could be used to inject SQL code that could cause some harm. And so, from what I understood, this proposal is to issue some kind of warning when the functions like those of that execute MySQL queries can detect if the string is built dynamically or it's statically. Because it's statically certain, there is no SQL injection. Could be some security problem, but not a SQL injection. And if it is constructed dynamically, there is a chance that can be security injection. Well, I did not quite understand this whole proposal. Maybe I'm missing something, but the way I saw it is that if a query string is constructed dynamically, it is not necessarily unsafe, or it's not necessarily the result of an attempt to a SQL injection. Arthur, did you follow this proposal? What are your perception of the problem?
Basically, in the proposal they basically say that even if you escape the string yourself, you still concatenate it, you will still get the warning. So they are like deliberately trying to make everyone switch to prepared statements, and that it's not a bug of this proposal, it's a feature of this proposal. So
yeah. So well, I was not sure about this proposal of making it more secure by telling people that they can have unsecure strings, but it seems they're one good idea, and
yeah, it's a great
at
idea.
least the intention. I'm not sure if the implementation is ideal. So well, let's see what comes out of this in the future PHP versions. So moving on, one related topic, because I was looking at this proposal, and there was another comment in another discussion in in PHP internals list, is that there is a developer that is suggesting to have some kind of tainting, to detect if the strings that are being used, they are composed from request values that will probably not escape properly or not. And one of the responses was precisely to point to an extension that already exists, but I was not aware. She's called precisely taint. Let me increase the font here. Basically, it's a string that, an extension that will eventually track the origin of the strings, marking them as tainted or not, so you can know if, for instance, you got a string from a request value. It could be used for an eventual attack. So this is somewhat related with the previous proposal, although a different approach, which is to use this extension taint, and if you used a string that is not tainted to compose that a query by concatenating several other strings, and then you execute it, there can be a security problem.
Yeah, and they actually check if the initial value comes from a global get poster cookie variable. So it's even more proof that the previous proposal from Matt because, well, there you actually have the values that came from some unknown source. And I don't know if it's possible also to see if this value went through MySQL real escape string or something like that. Then it would be even better.
Yeah, because it wants the value passes to a function like that. It no longer has been flagged as tainted or not. So it would be then considered safe, if you can call it so. Oh, okay. Moving on with another topic. This time, again, a collaboration, a proposal for collaboration from a person from another well-known company. Previously, the contributors from Google. And this time is Bogdan and Don from Intel. He works in the software performance analysis and optimization of Intel. So I imagine that he is concerned that important widely used software products like PHP perform well under their CPU. And so he has proposed a patch that would actually provide a small performance improvement, but it's still a consistent improvement that would make PHP run even a little faster than it is already going. So from what I understood, the patch was already accepted, or at least there was nobody objecting to integrate this patch. But the interesting part is that it seems very relevant that now we see more and more big companies concerned with PHP, not just Google, as you mentioned, but also Intel.
I wanted to mention the same, yes. That seems interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why now.
What took them so long? Where I think they were doing Python. Well, at least Google people seems to prefer Python. They just a side comment. They just released newer versions of some APIs, and the first examples is always in Python. Okay, I think they prefer Python, but the world is not so much into Python. Well, there are
now there is Go.
Yeah, Go and some other not very popular languages, but never mind. What I noticed that PHP is not their first concern when they release sample code and examples. Anyway, moving on to the next topic. This time we're going to talk about the JSON serializable proposal, which is a proposal to have, I would say, a function to actually unserialize objects from a JSON description. Well, there was the initial proposal, but there was an update of the proposal, which is to have a new function called JSON decode to class, on which you give a JSON string, and then the identification of a class, and then it will
populate all the properties automatically.
Yeah, if the class has this function JSON unserialized. Actually, I don't know if you call this function, what happens if the class does not have that function.
Yeah, probably no. It uses some kind of reflection API or something like that, probably internally.
Or probably it did vision an error, because how does it know how to decode a JSON string and populate the object?
I don't know if property name matches JSON object and class or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Many things can happen. Like for instance, if you give a JSON string that has totally no values for the properties of the class, I don't know. It's probably be a weird thing. Well, anyway, this is a proposal. Let's see if this is approved. Now, moving on to the next topic, and this is also an interesting one because it talks about, from what I understood, strict typing for variables. Because so far we had, after a long struggle, the proposal to have strict typing for functions, function parameters, return values, and now they are considering for a future PHP 7 version a way to also declare the types of the variables, as we see here. This is, well, for now, this is the discussion. I'm not sure if there was a formal RFC for this, but what we can tell is that they are already discussing this possibility. There was a discussion with many people that say, oh, well, for variables, we have doc blocks, PHP doc blocks. So what would be the need for that? Well, no. If you assign a variable with a wrong type that is expected, it's the same as the same value as the same utility as passing values to functions that expect one type of argument and get another type.
Yeah, there was one, someone mentioned a case, if you want to make a variable public and you still need to ensure its type, then it would be the best way to do it.
Yeah, well, you can always think of that. Okay, so moving on now, briefly mentioning something that it seemed to have been started recently. It's either that or was not aware, which is an evaluation of performance benchmarks that is being done automatically on a daily basis. It seems to have started on June 24th, and what they are doing is basically sending reports to the PHP internals to see how is the performance of the several popular PHP packages like WordPress, Drupal, MediaWiki, and also the regular benchmark scripts that are used once in a while. And the idea was to actually see if the changes that are being done on a day-by-day basis are improving or making it worse, the performance of popular PHP packages. Because sometimes some things seem to improve things, but they are probably causing harm in other aspects. So you have several reports here for different days. For instance, today they just show some percentages. Well, this seems interesting. Yeah, this seems interesting, but I don't know what they do with these results. There are some comments here, and well, I think this is a very interesting new. It's not a feature; it's a new practice, but I think it is useful. So let's see how if somehow this helps detecting problems that sometimes you think you get a faster PHP and then it's not as fast as you got. So now we are reaching a new section of the podcast on which we are going to start commenting the latest articles that have been on the PHP Classes blog. If my mouse stops jumping, that will be helpful. So, going to start the first article we have here, which is basically to talk about an article that, written by Tom Freund from the United States. He's written this article about software agents and tell them what are software agents. Basically, software agents are pieces of software that work autonomously. They are not being controlled by a human being. They have a function to perform, and they know how to handle it. So besides defining what are software agents, he implemented a sort of methodology to define the behavior of those agents using a syntax in JSON format, and then have PHP functions to actually process that JSON and eventually configure the aspects of those software agents. And this is related with autonomous hardware, could be robots, could be drones, and the software agents could perform useful functions like extracting values of sensors to see if everything is okay. And well, for those that are interested in hardware, this may be a very an interesting article. I don't know, Arthur, what do you think? Do you think this is kind of thing that somebody interested in hardware would be interested?
Yeah, that's actually really great. I have seen something similar. We already discussed in JS Classes podcast about Node.js and JavaScript having applications like this, and it's probably first time I see something like this that in PHP, and it really shows that PHP is not simply a server side language anymore. It could be used in many applications. For example, like this.
Exactly. And the next article, let me share here because my mouse jumped over again. And the next article is about, actually it's a follow-up by Val Reina talking about the gateway pattern, which is basically an approach to access what is called common data. And common data is basically that the information that you need everywhere in your application, like configuration values, localization, strings, like strings to make your application international, and other common functionality that you need everywhere in your package. So he defines here what he called the gateway pattern, which is basically to have an object that will facilitate the access to those variables. This is actually the continuation of a previous article. You may also want to read that article that was published some time ago. The next topic is, let me close this window here, another article from Dave Smith, and in this case is about object interfaces. Well, many of us are experienced enough to know about interfaces, but I know that sometimes people see the definition of interfaces and don't quite understand it. So this is a very interesting tutorial by Dave Smith on the topic, and it is helpful to understand not only what are interfaces, but why and when you should use them. So it was a good introductory article by Dave. The next article to comment, in this case, is about a process that can help you detect problems before you commit your code to, for instance, a Git repository. This article is from Suresh Kumar. He is basically proposing to use tools like PHP Code Sniffer to be called and before committing your code to a Git repository. So it teaches how to install that tool. Could be other tools, not just PHP Code Sniffer. Could be many other code audit tools. And then it teaches how to configure your Git repository. So that tool is called right before your code is committed. If for some reason the code fails, passing the tests, it will prevent you to commit the code, and you'll detect the error. So it is very interesting. Another article, this one is apparently very simple because most of us already know this, which is to build SEO-friendly links. Because nowadays, more than ever, the search engines like Google value the user experience. And many people know how to build user-friendly, SEO-friendly links, but they probably are not sure why. The reason why you can use, you should use links that are friendly is that you allow the user to look at the link URL and understand what is the topic about. So, and the user decides if he should follow the link or not. So this article is basically a conceptual tutorial, because nowadays many people use frameworks that can help you to do this without following necessarily this approach, which is basically to have a database table that will map URLs between the friendly version and the actual version that you use. As if you call those URLs with parameters in the actual URL. So this article is actually written by Ashraf Gaith from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and he has been writing quite a bunch of interesting and detailed tutorials, and this is one more of this. So now we're going to just comment briefly about the reviews of the latest books that have been published. The reviews of the books that have been published. Starting first, the Clean PHP Architecture. In this case, it's a book by Christopher Wilson, and it was reviewed by Alexander Skakunov from Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, it's a book that tells you what is the so-called clean PHP architecture, as opposed to a more messy architecture that is not so consistent. And the review tells a bit about what this is and what includes the solid design principles and other things. And so it is a good book that Alexander recommends. The next book that we are going to comment is about a framework called Fuel PHP. Fuel PHP application development blueprints from PAC. It was written by Sebastian Royer. He contacted the PHP class site requesting if he could review this book, and I tried to find a reviewer. In this case, it was Samuel Adshina, and It talks about what the book covers, mainly the actual chapters, what they contain, and what you can learn about this framework. And he also liked this book, which is not an unexpected thing, because the reviews are done by volunteers. So the volunteers actually pick the books they want to review or not. So they tend to review books about topics they are interested. So it's not unusual that they recommend the books. And okay, next book is PHP Cookbook. This is actually a very old book, but this is the third edition, so it's more recent, and it was actually published in 2014. It's a book from David Sklar and Adam Trachtenberg. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. And the book was reviewed by Jose Gomez, and well, it basically tells what the book is about for those that didn't know the previous editions, and he also recommends that you have this book on your desk every time you need to study a solution for a common problem, like a recipe for a problem that is recurring, which is basically what this book is all about, solutions for common problems. That's why it is called PHP Cookbook. The next book is a more recent one, is about Symfony certification. This is interesting because Symfony is a reasonably popular framework, and they also have a certification program. If you want to be ready to pass that program, you should practice and also expect what kind of questions appear on the book. In this case, the book was reviewed by José Luis Lazo, and he tells a bit what the kinds of questions appear there, and he mentions like 250 questions, and it is always useful if you want to become a specialist in this certification. I'm sure José Luis is very enthusiastic of Symfony framework, so he loved this book a lot, and I recommends it to everyone that is going to take the certification, like he did.
It is like a Zen certified developer, now you can become a Symfony certified developer.
Yeah, actually, if you have not been in the Symfony world, you probably were not aware of this. But yeah. It's yes, because even Zen certification also there are several types of certifications, not just the PHP certification. Is also the specific for the framework, the Zen framework. So it's only natural that you will also have a certification program that will eventually help you to appear more qualified if you take the certification and pass the exam, and then you candidate to jobs that require a specialist. Probably even be better paid if you show that certification that you got. I don't know if this is the case in practice, but it's natural to expect that happens. So another book that also was reviewed lately is MongoDB and PHP by Steve Francia. And again, this was reviewed by Jose Gomez, and it tells basically all you need to know about the basics of creating MongoDB applications with PHP, common solutions for several problems like crude interfaces and performing queries, dealing with pagination, and everything you probably would learn from, for instance, a similar book about MySQL and PHP, except that this is MongoDB, it's a NoSQL database, it's a slightly different concept. And so, as Jose mentioned, this is well recommended if you have to work with MongoDB. Personally, I haven't worked with MongoDB. Arthur, did you work with MongoDB yourself?
Yeah. Currently, I only work with MongoDB. My main work is now based on MongoDB completely.
But do you mean that in a positive sense or not a positive sense?
Yes and no. One of the main features that I'm missing is that it's transactionless. You really can't expect it to be in the correct state all the time, and you need to go around it, but still try to make it more performant. So that's the main challenge using MongoDB.
Yeah. So if you really want to be certain of the type of the transactions that you want to perform, maybe you'll be stuck to this MySQL or some other SQL database.
Probably.
Yeah. So now just a couple of more books to finish this long section about book reviews. In this case, is about PHP and Jenkins. This is an interesting book that many people probably will learn a lot. Although the book is not even recent, it's from 2011. It tells about using Jenkins for performing what was called the continuous integration process, which will allow you to evaluate your code continuously, not just when you are ready to, for instance, test a specific feature or commit it to production. With continuous integration, you can perform tests regularly and see immediately if the changes you made break some tests. And this can be coordinated with Jenkins. So Jenkins is a tool that, to my bad, I have not tried it personally.
It's for your good, not for your bad.
Well, yes and no. I understand for mission critical projects like those that deal with money or people health, things that may not fail, all the tests you can make probably would be worth the time that you spend around these tools. But for simpler projects, maybe it could be an exaggerated concern.
I'm actually not against it. I would encourage it, but Jenkins is really complex. You need to read probably lots of literature to set up something, and well, you can't do it on your own because, especially in continuous integration, you need some kind of encapsulation that would run on clean system each time, like using Docker or something additionally, and then you need to make them work together, and that stuff really complex. I have a Jenkins machine set up, so I thought I would do it sometimes on my free time to build and test the projects, but I did not manage to do that yet. It's really time consuming and hard. Probably I need to get a book or something to make it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Probably need to get a good book on the topic.
Exactly.
And in this case, the book is written by Sebastian Bergman. He's a very famous PHP developer because he had been very enthusiastic about testing your code as much as possible to assure that it doesn't have any quality problems. Is known for having developed or ported, if you can call it so, the PHP unit package that is very popular, as well other tools that are mentioned in this review that are covered in the book. So it makes sense that the developer that created the PHP unit package actually recommends using Jenkins to organize the testing of your code to assure maximum quality. Now, if you enjoy the whole process of the code testing and assembling all these tools, that's a different story. Sometimes it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, one last book to mention here is, let me share the screen here. It's Building Web Apps with WordPress. This book was reviewed actually just today. I mean, it was published, the review just today, and it is by Dave Smith. This is, again, a book that Dave requested to review explicitly because he went to use WordPress on a project, and he wanted to learn what are the recommended practices when you want to use WordPress as the base platform for your all your applications. I mean, not all applications, but at least to develop applications that are not necessarily blogs, are more than that, with things, I mean, plugins that implement new things that make WordPress more than a blog, which basically an application platform. So it basically covers what the book mentions on different aspects. And if you, for some reason, have the need to develop custom applications and it is convenient to do it on top of WordPress, this is a book that would be recommended for you to do so. So with this, we conclude the part on book reviews. Now we are going to move on with the Innovation Award section about the packages that were nominated on May 15, starting with JavaScript packages. On May, there were like 5 nominees. If my mouse stops jumping, we can see which are the nominees. Okay, and there we have the 5. And Arthurs, from these ones, which ones would you like to comment?
Okay, first one I would like to comment on is a package named Material Design Styled Ripple Effect by Andres Toth, and it even has a demo here to show you. Basically, it provides a kind of ripple effect. You know, okay, maybe I can zoom a little more so you could see it. It's like when you drop something in the pond in the water and it comes in circles, so it's something like that. Could add nice visual cue to the website, or when you're recording videos, it would show where do you click and stuff like that. So that's why I think it's great. And Andres got one downloadable ebook of choice by Aurelie for this package. Next one I wanted to mention is PNG to CRC package, which can store a PNG image like file with encoded user ID, and then you can check the fingerprint if the user is the same user that you have stored the file. So it's like you can mark a user by storing a PNG file, probably in cache or something like that. And the package was developed by Dusan Boskic from Serbia, and he got one book of choice by Pact for this package.
Yeah, that's an interesting package because it tries to do something clever, which is to try to detect things that are specific to a certain browser and without using cookies. So you can track certain aspects of the that can identify the user without using cookies. It's really unusual.
And the last one I wanted to mention is JS base 64 encode. Basically, what this package does, it codes a string in base 64 format. Usually, in different languages environments, this is something that's provided by the system, but we know that JavaScript, especially browser side, is quite limited. So these kind of packages become useful. And it was developed by Mostafa Abd El Hamid from Egypt, and he got 1 year server license IP to country for this package.
Okay, on my behalf, I also like to mention a couple of classes. The first one, in this case, is jQuery hide column table, which is interesting because now with more and more sites trying to optimize themselves to mobile devices, they sometimes need to sacrifice some information that is on screen. And if you have, for instance, tables are pretty hard to adapt to mobile. So one technique that can be used. Oh, sorry. It took very long to remind me.
Yeah, I was switching between windows.
Yeah. Okay. As I was saying, the package. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't come with it didn't come with a demo, but you can see here more or less you define a table, and then you can define which columns are visible or not. And you can do that dynamically using JavaScript. And so if your table does not fit on the screen, you can just use this package, and it probably will hide a table column that is one that will help you to fit the table on screen. And the next package that I wanted to comment, sorry, I forgot to mention that this package was published by Danish Sati from Pakistan. And the next package, as I was going to mention, is Xtemplate by Diego La Monica, basically a template engine written in JavaScript that uses HTML fragments that are already on the page to do things that define parts of your page, so they can use those scripts segments that have the text, the type text / Xtemplate, and this is interesting because you can define templates inside the actual page that you are willing to use the template, so we don't have to load the an external template file that probably will take more time to load. So given this, let's now comment on the latest, the Innovation Award rankings for 2015. If my mouse allows me to stop jumping, and basically we have here as the leading Anders Froth with 5 packets and 21 points is leading, followed by Suresh Kumar with 3 packets and 10 points, Diego La Monica 2 packages and 8 points, Gianluca Ferrari with 1 packet 7 points, Dusan Boskic, we just mentioned about email, with 7 packets, with 2 packets and 7 points, Jackson Alto 1 packet and 6 points, Everton Darosa with 1 packet and 6 points, Danish SATI when packaged 4 points. It should be CB when packaged in 4 points. By country, the rankings are still pretty much very similar, except a few differences. We can let me just copy. Let me put this in a separate tab, which is easier than have this jumping here. So basically, as I would say, by country, Hungary is leading with 5 packages, Understock with 21 points, and then comes India. I guess it didn't help much because it's very crazy. It's jumping a lot. I don't know why more than before.
One of those days.
Yeah, and then
I was expecting something like that.
Yeah, with after 2 hours of delay. You promised it couldn't go worth, but it can. Anyway, India, who is in second with four packages and 14 points. Italy in second, 2 packages and 8 points. Tied with Australia, also with the same packages and same points. Then comes Serbia with 2 packages and 7 points.
Did you click it, or how is it happening? I can't understand.
Yeah, I really don't understand how either, because I'm not doing anything. It's probably some bad contact. Anyway, I was saying Serbia with 2 packages and 7 points, and then Netherlands won also 1 package and 7 points. United States also with 2 packages and 7 points. Brazil 1 package and 6 points. Egypt with
Would it help if I open the window?
Yeah, could be an idea. Let's try this. I don't know because it still has history. Anyway, Egypt with 1 package and 4 points, and then Pakistan also 1 package and 1 point. Well, given this, now we are going to move on to the Innovation Award of May 15, 2015, but from the PHP classes side. Okay, Arthurs, which ones would you like to comment?
Okay, let me start by mentioning PHP Secure ID package developed by Matthew Knowlton. And what this package can do, it could generate an ID for a record in your database using its ID. Well, the problem is simple. You know that sometimes you have a links that have an ID in them, and you don't want to expose your database's ID directly because they are going, for example, in order. So some other people may try to change it and access the information they of other documents or records in your database. And to prevent that, you can use this class to generate new random IDs that would hide them, and they would not be so guessable. So that's why I think that's really useful package.
Yeah.
And Matthew got 1 book of choice by Pact for this package. Next one I wanted to mention is a PHP media search engine by Ghali Ahmed from Tunisia, and this package can search for videos in multiple sites, using multiple APIs, and what's even better, you can even extend it with your own, adding your own sites by adding gateways to this class to use, and that's why I think it's great and provides an interesting functionality that could also be useful. And how we got source guarding PHP encoder tool for this package. Next one I wanted to mention is PHP contour plot by Dan Tan from France. And what it do, there is a specific file that defines some contour lines, and this package can render it. And we can also see a screenshot. It looks quite great. So you could see like mountains or other relief here, and this package basically reads the specific file that defines it and can render it. And then got PHP tools for Visual Studio personal license for this package. Next one is FRDL application components access wrapper. FRDL, I think that what was a nickname or something. It seems to be his GitHub username. Maybe these users. It was developed by Theo Wichovsky from Germany. And when I first read the description, I could not understand what it actually does. But if you look at this example, then you can add a shortcut to some functions and then use them, not using the whole long path, but using the shortcut. And you can also define anonymous functions that could be used in the same chain that the chain that you are chaining the multiple calls for your package. Basically, that's it. It provides this kind of access wrapper to functionality. And Theo got one copy of the Zen Studio for this package. Another interesting package is PHP Random People, developed by Alexander Selifonov from Russia. And this package, on the first hand, it generates the people names and their data, like birthdays and middle names, gender, stuff like that. But it's the interesting part that it could also generate trees, like when you have your parents and stuff like that, so that would surnames, last names match and dates match. It could generate like data with a tree. So that's why it was interesting, and Alexander got one downloadable copy of PHP ED Professional for this package. Next one is WordPress Discuss language fix. So as I understand, there is a problem with Discuss and WordPress that they define locale differently, and Discuss can't really get the locale of the WordPress, and so this package fixes it. So both your WordPress blocks and Discuss will be in the same localization. And this package was developed by Alessio Felicioni from Italy, and he got one subscription to the PDF edition of the PHP Architect magazine. And last one I wanted to mention is a PHP matrix similarity package developed by Khali Ahmed from Tunisia. We already mentioned him. And this package can find similarities in 2D tiles or matrices that you could use, for example, for games. And oh yeah, there was an example. So you could, for example, compare different states of characters or stuff like that. And how we go? Oh yeah, probably you can't select the second prize, right? So yeah, I think that's it from my part.
Yes, on my behalf, I would like to also mention a few, if my mouse lets me point them.
Yeah, I leave the page open just in case.
No, it's really crazy. It does not stop. So I'm going to just shift. Terrible, I lost it. Shift it to the end, and then I comment the package that I wanted to mention. The first one in this case is called Six, which basically a solution to encrypt, if you can call it so, data with PDF and PBKDF2 or Caesar algorithms, and it will allow you to do it, but it is in pure PHP. There is the PBKDF2 implementation since PHP 5.5, but for some reason you need to use it in an earlier version. Here is an alternative that can encrypt data with this algorithm without relying on a specific PHP version. The other package that I wanted to mention is, oh, sorry, it seems to have jumped a bit. Okay, it is PHP user credentials, which is basically to help you to implement the regular password authentication policies.
Which is not the package you are showing?
It's not, oh, sorry. It jumped to another window. Okay, it should be good now. It was still sharing the old window because it jumped a lot. Well, anyway, when you have a system that has to enforce certain security policies like the characters that you can use, the expiry dates, the allowing you to use passwords or not. A really strong security system enforces many of these rules, and this package implemented by Serial Organa provides you a solution for that. And for that, he got a $1 copy of Cologs the Professional. Another package that I want to mention, this one is very simple, but is still very interesting, is just also to render an analog clock as an image in PHP. So you just giving the time and the time of the day, and it will generate a PNG image with an analog clock with the current time. So you can display it on a browser easily. The next package that I wanted to mention is PHP address formatter, developed by David Smith. Again, has been contributing a lot, and this package basically takes a list of parameters like the street name, the recipient, the number, building, locality, province, postal code, country, and formats it according to rules that are specific to each country. As you may know, different countries implement it in a different way. So for this, they've got 1 year server license of IP2Country database, the one that is more complete. The next package that I wanted to mention is benchmark tools, packaged by Dmitry Mamontov. It is interesting because there have been similar packages for this purpose, except that this one can do it by themselves, including starting its own server. Actually, what it can do is to monitor many things, including how is the performance of certain functions going. For instance, if your machine is under a heavy load, probably certain functions are not executing very quickly, and it could be useful to let you know that probably you need to take care of something that needs to be optimizing your server. The next package that I want to mention, oh, sorry, I'm gone. I forgot to mention that Dimitri picked the PHP Storm IDE as prize. And the next package, as I was going to mention, PHP random bytes, which is basically to generate cryptographically strong random bytes. This is used on cryptography solutions, usually to see this some data value that will be used to encrypt some code. And this package by Martin Latter from the United Kingdom does it in several ways, depending on what you have available on your system. It could be mcrypt, OpenSSL, or just checking the dev random stream that you can access on Linux systems. And for this, Martin picked one downloadable copy of an ebook by O'Reilly. Another package that I want to mention is interesting for those that are familiar with Cloudflare. Cloudflare is a CDN system, content delivery network, that has some free plans, and what this package can do is to look at some domains and try to find the IP addresses of subdomains that are using Cloudflare. And for this, Nick Daniels from the United States didn't pick a prize. Anyway, the last package that I want to mention is Caribou ORM, which is interesting, is an object relational mapping solution, so that allows you to treat the database records as objects, except that in this case it uses annotations, I mean comments in your code to determine certain aspects of the way the objects are mapped, like for instance, if you have already a legacy application that you need to map to specific tables, specific columns, you can specify those properties in the annotation comments. And this package was provided by Mike Grubel from Germany. This was the last package. So let me just comment quickly on the Innovation Award rankings of 2015. We're talking about the nominees of May, but this already includes the rankings of June. And so far, Dave Smith is leading with quite an advance due to many good contributions with 8 packages and 77 points. He's followed by a colleague from his own country, United States, with 3 packages and 39 points, Matthew Knowlton. Then it's followed by, very closely, by Dmitry Mamontov with 3 packages and 34 points. It's from Russia. Then Gali Ahmed with 3 packages and 26 points. Wap Morgan from Russia, 4 packages and 23 points. Tilly Wowski with 3 packages and 22 points. Then Ken, which is actually Kio1, I don't know if he's changing the name for some reason, with 2 packages and 22 points. Alessio Felicioni with 2 packages and 22 points, he's from Italy. Mohamed Al-Shal from, I think, Egypt, right? With 1 package and 16 points. Then Andrei Liechti with 2 packages and 16 points, all in the 9th place. By country, things have been changing a lot, thanks to the contributions, many contributions. United States is leading with 13 packages and 124 points, and is followed by Russia with 11 packages and 90 points. Then Germany, 6 packages and 24 points. Egypt, 3 packages and 28 points. Tunisia, 3 packages and 26 points. France tied in also the same packages and points. Italy, 2 packages and 22 points. Nigeria, 2 packages and 28 points. Then India, 3 packages and 19 points. And finally, Pakistan with 2 packages and 19 points as well. Well, with this, practically ended this, again, long podcast. I hope you can excuse me for my jumping mouse. I'll try to use a wired mouse next time to see if that solves the problem. And do not annoy so much with the screen changing so much.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, well, it was interesting but annoying effect. Well, well, with this on my behalf, that is all for now. Thank you for coming. Bye.
Bye.